The Vikings feel that they have a 3-year Super Bowl plan and window. Is this actual genius team building, and are they setting themselves up for that, or are they being delusional? Now, this also comes from Jeremy Fowler. Jeremy Fowler was on one. He was like Michael Jordan on Sunday morning on SportsCenter that 4 hungover people watched. Given a million quotes. The third topic almost was another Jeremy Fowler quote, and I was like, all right, we got to stop with this. It was about James Cook's contract situation. I was like, I can't do this.
I think that was actually what I was watching when I fell asleep this morning.
Oh, yeah?
For my nighttime sleep was Jeremy Fowler giving me all the info.
Fowler reported that the Vikings ultimately, by the way, I find this very funny after the fact that Aaron Rodgers signs, and like so many reporters were weighing in about how Aaron Rodgers could have been the Vikings backup quarterback. Like he just kept getting brought up all over the place. Like who cares? Who gives a shit? This is at least interesting to talk about because it sparks another conversation. He reported that they weren't that enamored with the idea of signing Aaron Rodgers because they saw this current stretch upcoming as a 3-year window right now to win a championship with a really good quarterback, was his words, they like on a rookie deal. The rookie deal is the key part. It is something that any franchise seeks out, the ability to win a championship before you have to waste all your money on paying your quarterback. McCarthy's salary cap hit right now is going to be between now and 2027, it maxes out at $7 million. If they brought back Darnold, that would have been $33.5 million, hence why they did not bring him back. All that being said, delusional, brilliance, do you think that they're going to get a Super Bowl in the next 3 years?
It's delusional to say it right now. It's delusional to say it ahead of this season when right now in your own division, Minnesota, you have in the NFC North, Minnesota is fielding the worst quarterback in the division. How could you make a prediction that you would have a real Super Bowl window when you don't have at least the second best quarterback in your division? Is it hard? Is the NFC North good right now? Yes and yes. But it is delusional as hell. Before even seeing JJ McCarthy on the field in the NFL game live bullets to say we have a 3-year window, because it could be a 5-year window or it could be we don't have a window. But to say 3 years, that is just some GM talk trying to keep your guys up. That's all it is, because you got an unproven commodity. And I was watching that film from him. That ball, I don't like where he's at, where his wind-up motion, this long extended release, don't like it. He needs to shorten that up. He's going to get eaten alive.
I reject everything you just said.
Sure.
I liken what the Vikings could do could be like when the Jared Goff Rams got to the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Now, they didn't win, but they got there. I don't remember off the top of my head if he was still on his rookie deal, but the reason why I'm making this comparison is at the time, Jared Goff wasn't a fully baked quarterback yet. Very similar to JJ McCarthy. A few years into his career, he was at the point where we saw some of the, hey, he can be a pretty good starting quarterback in the NFL, but he's not really taking his team over the top. He's not taking the offense over the top. They got that far because of their defense. And their offense was able to succeed on that playoff run and during that season because Sean McVay was just such a brilliant play caller. Kevin O'Connell, no one's going to sit here on this podcast. I hope you're not going to. No one's going to argue against the statement that Kevin O'Connell is a top 3 offensive mind in the NFL right now. He is top 5. Sorry, let me be a little more conservative.
Top 5, I will not have a challenge for that.
Top 5 without sitting here wasting our time trying to rattle off who fits in that 5. Top 5 at the bare minimum, one of the most brilliant offensive minds in the NFL considering what he turned Sam Darnold into this past year unexpectedly. If you can tap into the skill set of JJ McCarthy as he's still trying to figure stuff out, by year 3, before you have to give him that massive ass contract, you spend all this money. And this is what I kept bringing up to you during free agency, why I thought that they did a fantastic job in free agency. Keep spending the money on offensive linemen. Keep spending the money on running backs like Aaron Jones. In 3 years, you're going to be looking for a new guy. Spend it on the biggest free agent running back you can find. More defensive pieces as you flesh out this dominant elite defense that Brian Flores is coaching. And hopefully he doesn't sneak away to a new team, which probably will end up happening if he gets a head coaching gig. There is a path to be like that Rams team. I don't think this is crazy. I don't think this is delusional. You don't need JJ McCarthy to be the driving force for your team's success, especially for the fact that he's thrown to Justin freaking Jefferson and he can make mistakes, and Justin Jefferson can bail him out.
I'm working through some of the machinations here because what you said is not untrue. The Vikings have built and cultivated a very, very impressive NFL roster. And I am trying to right now picture in my mind the scenarios of the Vikings-Eagles game, NFC Championship, and how JJ McCarthy leads that team over the Eagles. And then also, in your to your side, how the Eagles could fall to the Vikings defense. Like, I'm working through it. I'm not seeing a lot of the lights for the JJ McCarthy just deciding to go God mode. If this is a situation where the Vikings defense, they roll out a top 3 units and they just, nobody can pass on them. You can't run on them and they just work really well. Maybe you have a shot, but I am not seeing a JJ McCarthy gets past the Buccaneers in the playoffs. I'm not seeing him getting past the Rams. It's too, he's too unproven. We haven't seen him. And he's a big, I guess, strong, fast quarterback that's got a big arm, and they love posting the throws from the OTAs. That's great. I am not buying in, and I'm confident still about not buying in. Not in the Vikings as a whole, but at him being the superhero truth final piece of the puzzle that they've been looking for.
It was year 3 of Jared Goff when they reached the Super Bowl. He had a good year in terms of passing yardage. He threw for 4,600 yards, 32 touchdowns, 12 interceptions.
It's a great year.
Not a great ratio, though, for touchdowns and interceptions. He played very well that year, but a lot of qualms that people had, and especially in the Super Bowl, he didn't step up to the plate. And that was what kind of started, sticking in everybody's head of like, can they win the Super Bowl with Jared Goff? We all know that the end result there was Matthew Stafford. They went and traded Matthew Stafford. They sent Jared Goff to the Lions. The rest is history on how things have shaped out. Jared Goff has since reproven himself. But what I'm getting at is that if by his 3rd year as a starter, that's all we're asking for. 3rd year as a starter, JJ McCarthy. He had this year to sit, learn the game, learn the expectations, get everything around you, figure everything out. See what it goes into the preparation. And I don't think that this is a guy that we'd ever worry about being caught out at the club. I think this is a maniac. I think that this guy is a complete psycho. He needs to wake up and meditate and do his weird stuff, which power to you, JJ McCarthy. That is what breeds great quarterbacks, not the ones who are out dicking around on Friday, Saturday nights of game week. He needs to set himself up for success here. I think that if he continues to put in that level of preparation, he can have maybe not 4,600 yards, but he can be a good piece, but not the main reason for their success. 2018, who was the best player on the Rams? Offensively.
Ooh. Was that Cup year? Was it Cooper Kupp was the best?
No, that was Todd Gurley was still on the team.
Yeah, I think he was still on the team in 2018. Yeah, you're correct. Todd Gurley was. They don't have a Todd Gurley though in Minnesota. Todd Gurley, that was a primo Todd Gurley. At
2018, he had 17 touchdowns. He had 1,200 yards rushing, and then receiving. It wasn't as good as his 2017 year where everyone was saying that he should have won MVP, and he had the 2,000 yards from scrimmage, but he still had a very good year. But Todd Gurley was the reason why their offense was good.
Yes, and Hamza's making a good point right now in the chat. Sean, you don't think JJ is good, but KOC believes he'll be very, very, very good. Who do I believe? You or KOC?
Well,
you should believe KOC.
Yeah, seriously.
You should believe KOC because he's a head coach and he's with the guy.
Well, actually,
but if you are someone that has like an inkling of doubt, like myself, then you should acknowledge it and not just go blindly by a head coach trying to stand by his player, which they do often. I'm KOC saying he's a good quarterback is just a good coaching move by KOC to keep everyone up and happy.
Right.
It doesn't mean that KOC isn't mother effing him in meetings when he's messing up or doing other things like that.
Which he's probably not doing. He probably wants him to build some confidence. He's a young kid, but I agree with what Hamza is saying. But the counterpoint to that is, though, and I love talking about some cost fallacy because it's something that's not talked about enough in sports. You can talk yourself into thinking that he's better than he actually is. You're obviously going to go out there and speak confidently of what
I would hope that
he is. He hasn't played yet.
I need a coach to do that.
Yeah, I would continue to speak positively on JJ McCarthy because you want him to feel confident in himself, speak publicly great about him. He hasn't done anything for long enough for us to worry at any point. There's nothing to ever worry about because he hasn't gotten on the field. Even if he looks messy in an OTA practice, it's like, who cares?
Well, no, I don't think he's looking messy. I think he's the OTA's touchdown leader at 42 through the first week.
Did somebody track that?
I don't know how tracked it was, but it was just about, like, I think
God,
the quarterback's getting hype in OTAs.
that actually would be a hilarious bit, but I don't know how you would go about tracking that. Like, just make a bunch of graphics that are like,
oh, you'd have to be deep on the 3-2-1 reporters and trying to find their numbers of the live period.
Right. God, that would
Give
be
me a break.
That would be awesome.
OTA touchdown to interception ratio, but that I'm going back to your Jared Goff number when he his third year, 4,600 passing yards. McCarthy doesn't get that, but if McCarthy, he doesn't get 32 touchdowns and 12 picks, but if McCarthy this year stays around 12 turnovers, next year stays around 12 turnovers, that's a good 2 first years for me. If one of these next 2 years he can throw for 4,000 yards,
more than that. He's probably gonna have more than 12.
I would say so also, but I for the benchmark of me flipping my stance on and believing in McCarthy, first I got to see it. I just have to watch how the guy operates, and then I'll know. But numbers wise, because all the pencil pushers on NFL Twitter need the numbers and stuff. If he throws for 4,000 yards in one of these first 2 seasons, if he throws for, I'll give around 30 touchdowns in one of these first 2 seasons and keeps the interceptions, turnovers around the low teens, then you might have a guy, and I might sign off on it. But
I would argue that,
but I don't think he comes close to 4,000.
Guy that would.
I don't think he comes close to 4,000 this year. I think he probably throws for maybe 20 touchdowns, and I don't think he has a big year. But he's basically a rookie, and it's going to be very tough to also say, KOC will probably draw him up 20 easy ones throughout the course of a year.
Before we move on to the Giants, the way that I see this upcoming year for him, I think it's listed that he's going to have a fantastic year. I think he's just not going to have a bad one. I think that Kevin O'Connell is great at limiting quarterback mistakes, which is why Sam Darnold had as good of a year as he did. I think that should be the expectation. Not a year where we're going, oh geez, this isn't looking great. He's not going to start going down the Daniel Jones path where we're like well, there were a lot of bright spots, but a lot of weird wonky shit. But I think that it's more so he's probably going to play clean. He probably won't even have a crazy amount of turnovers, but he's not. I don't think he's going to go over 30 passing touchdowns.
Do you think he kind of looks like Caleb this last year, where there was some weirdness, but you saw that Caleb was working,
and his stat line was still great.
Yeah, you look
at it and you're like, oh, that was a pretty good stat line.
Caleb had some really weird moments, some confusing moments, and I think he got sold out by his team a lot of the time, and I think that the Chicago offense was vastly worse than whatever Minnesota is going to be operating with. But if he looks a little bit like Caleb Williams last year, I'd have hope. I think he looks worse. I just think he will.